Hi, this video is all about the new features that are to be found in RightBooth version 7.14.0. Now, the thing to say here is that all of these features have been requested by users, so that's quite exciting for me. It's the first time that this has happened. That's not to say that I've run out of ideas, but basically if you come up with an idea that you think it would be useful to go into RightBooth, just let me know and I will try and accommodate it. So let's look at the first new feature, which is the AI photo effects. Now I'm just going to show an overview of these features in this video. I've created another video which is a training video for how to use the features. So I'll just go through the AI photo effects briefly in this video. So to look at photo effects, I'm just going to show you the results of what can be achieved. And here are a few screens. So the first feature is the AI photo background replacement feature. So what this does is when a photo is taken, and here is a typical photo, the user will be asked to choose a background. Now these backgrounds will come from your computer, so you can pick any backgrounds you like. And what happens after the user has chosen a background is that RightBooth will send that background and the photo to an AI service, and the resulting photo will be returned to RightBooth. As you can see here, here's a typical example. The user has had this photograph taken, and it can be on any background at all. It doesn't need to be a green screen background. The user has chosen this alpine view, and RightBooth has sent that to the background service replacement feature and returned this image. And as you can see here, it makes a pretty good job of it. So we've actually had this feature in RightBooth for quite some time, but now this is being done by one or more AI service providers, and I'll explain that in the training video. The next AI feature is photo background text description. So in this example, a photograph is taken by RightBooth, and after the photo is taken, the user is asked to enter a text description of the background they would like to be in front of. Now in this example, the user has entered the words beach at sunset, and what happens is RightBooth sends the photo and the text description to a background replacement service, which will automatically create the background using AI. Now the point about this is that if you were to send the same beach at sunset text prompt again, the AI service would generate a totally different background. So every time this is used, you get a unique background behind the couple. Let's just have a quick look at these. As you can see, it's done a very good job of creating the background and replacing the background. Let's have a look at another example. This time, on this one, the user has typed beach at sunset with palm trees, and as you can see, a similar background replacement of sunset, but also with palm trees. Here's another example, coral reef underwater, and again it's exactly the same foreground couple, but a totally different background. The next feature is the Photo AI cartoon feature. What this does is it allows the user to choose a cartoon style for their photo. So here's the original, and what we're doing here is just showing you the range of cartoon styles that are available for selection during the photo capture process. Now, one thing to say about all these features for the AI is you don't have to ask the user to make the choices. The RightBooth can be set up so that it automatically creates the cartoon or automatically generates the background. So there's a choice going on here. Again, I will explain how to do that in more detail in the photo effects training video. The last thing to look at for the photo AI is the combinational work that can be done by using more than one AI service provider. Now in this example, we have taken this photo here and we are combining a background replacement and also converting the guests into cartoon styles. And we're using the Barbie theme here because that's quite relevant at the moment. So here's the original photo, here's the background replacement, and also here's another example with the cartoon faces. So you can see it's quite subtle, but it's quite powerful. And it's done in a way that the users are still recognizable. I've seen a lot of this on other examples where the cartoons just do not look like the original people. So I've tried to keep this fairly consistent so that you can still recognize yourselves after the actual effect has been applied. So let's have a quick look at where you can find the photo effects features. Let's just come out of the editor. So into the designer event structure, there is a new section called Photo AI. So if we just go in here, you can see this is where you can set up all of the Photo AI effects. Now, as I say, I will explain all this in the training video. Also, in settings, there's a new section, AI, and in here, this is where you can configure all the AI service providers. Now, this is what RightBooth is using to perform all of the photo effects. Again, this will all be explained in the Photo AI training video. Now, a quick mention of the retake photos option. This is tied in with AI photo effects. If you choose AI photo effects in your event, it might be that when a photo is taken, the user might not be happy with it prior to having the photo effects applied. So what you can do is give them the option to retake the photo before any AI is applied to it. The place to do that is to go into the event design, and on the event structure, on the take photo option, you can choose include a retake photo screen before the photo AI screens. So let's tick that. What that gives you in the screen editor is another screen, the retake photo screen. And as you can see here, it's been placed after the take photo screen and before any AI effects are applied. So it is a very simple screen. It's just going to show the user their photo and they can choose whether to redo it or keep the photo before carrying on with the event flow. The next feature is photo enhancements. Now, this is not AI, this is all done by RightBooth internally and locally. Now, for those of you who have used video enhancements, this will be quite familiar to you. So I'll just show you what happens. Let's have a look here. Let's say you've created a photo capture event that takes 3 photos. And here's a typical example. So 3 photos taken at the booth. Now, using photo enhancements, you can turn these 3 photos into a short video montage. So let's have a look at what you can do. So here's a typical example. What I've done here is I've made a sequence of the photos. I've applied a Ken Burns montage effect. I've added an outro video, and I've also added an overlay video of the love hearts. There's actually an audio track as well. If I just turn up the sound on this, so in addition to the 3 photos being taken, RightBooth will automatically generate an enhanced video. which then can be sent to the user by email or onto WhatsApp. So it's treated as another file at the end of the session. So let's have a quick look at where that happens. In the designer event structure, we now have the enhancements section. Now this used to be called video enhancements, but it's now enhancements. And in here we have two tabs. We have the video tab, which you will all be familiar with if you've used video enhancements. So this hasn't changed, but there is now a photos tab. Let's have a look in here. And you can choose to add enhancements. So this is very similar to the video enhancements. You can add an intro video, an outro video, an audio track, an overlay video. You can apply Ken Burns effects and so on. So I'm going to start with the 3 reference test photos that I've got that I showed you on the actual event screen earlier. So I'm going to turn all these off, and all I'm going to do is create a test video. So what's going to happen is that each of the photos will be displayed for 4 seconds in the resulting video. Let's test that. So as you can see, this was a very quick enhancement, and it's just showing each of the photos for 4 seconds. Let's add to that. I'm going to go for a Ken Burns effect. Let's try again. This time we get the Ken Burns effect transitions. This is now a 4.5 megabyte file. We can now add an overlay video, and I've already chosen a hearts video. Now this is an MP4 file with a green screen background. Let's just test that. So here we've got the overlay hearts. This is now 6.68 megabytes. Finally, let's add an outro video. So that just tags onto the end of that video your own outro video. And finally, you could add an audio track if you wish. So the point being is that if you choose to add photo enhancements, then at the end of each of the photo capture sessions, RightBooth will automatically generate this enhanced video that you can then send to your guests. Another requested feature was the maximum print count feature to be applied at the event level. Now, what does that mean? Well, if I go into settings and look at the printers and printing, it's possible to apply a maximum print count. Now, what that does is it restricts the amount of printing that can be done by RightBooth. The problem with this setting is that it applies across all of the events as a whole. So once the maximum print count is reached, no more printing can be performed on any event. Now, one request was for this to be lifted into an event level setting. So yes, we're keeping it here, but this can be overridden now by having the print count placed into the event design. And that is applied at event structure, printing, and here you will see that there is now an event level maximum print count. So if you set a value here, let's say 50, and turn this on, what that means is that when you run this event, let's say it's a photo capture event with printing involved, it will only allow the users to print a maximum of 50 printouts. The next requested feature was modify files externally. Now what that does is it allows you within the event flow to send photos or videos to another application for that application to modify the photos or the videos and send it back to RightBooth as part of the event flow. So let's have a look at where that happens. If we go back into the designer and look at event flow, there's a new section down here, modify files externally. Now you can choose to modify videos or photos. Now the way this works is that you have to choose an external watch folder. Now the external watch folder is where the other application will be waiting for a photo or a video to appear so that it can then modify it and send it back to the return watch folder. So if you're going to use this feature, you need to have another application that can actually monitor a watch folder, modify the file, and then return that modified file into a different watch folder. So let's assume that we want to modify videos externally. We would browse to an external watch folder and apply it here, and we would use an external return watch folder. And what will happen then is that after each video is recorded, RightBooth will send the file to the watch folder and it will wait until it finds a return file in this watch folder, and then it will continue with the event flow. Here is where you can set the wait time. So you're basically saying how long you're going to wait for the return video to appear. And you can also set RightBooth to show a busy screen while it's waiting. The next feature is the wait time start option. Now I've had quite a bit of feedback from users who say that if they set their system to automatically start RightBooth when the operating system starts, so that's in the startup feature of Windows, it can lead to a situation where RightBooth doesn't connect to, say, a DSLR camera or some other peripheral at the start of the session. Now the reason for that is because RightBooth will fire up and start playing before a DSLR camera has had a chance to establish itself and its connection to Windows. So the way to avoid that problem is to apply a wait time startup to RightBooth. So let's have a look at where you add that. We go into settings, start stop, and in the start section there is now this option to apply a wait time. So if I tick this, it won't start for 10 seconds. In other words, it will start running, but it will literally do nothing. It will just sit there idle in the background for 10 seconds. Now this will give other peripherals time to connect to Windows. So you might want to play around with this if you are setting up a turnkey system, for example. The next feature is the right mouse button stop option. Let's have a look at this. Again, back into settings, security, and in here there is options for stopping the event from playing. Now by default you can press the escape key on the keyboard to stop the event from playing, but one of the requests was to use the right mouse button as well. So you can just tick this option. You've now got two ways of stopping the event from playing. You can also tick any combination of these four options. Prior to this you could only have one of these options, so now you've got a choice of using any of them at the same time. This version brings with it two new application languages, Dutch and Polish. Now that brings the total to 9 application languages, but in addition to Dutch and Polish, I've also added fully translated help files for all of the 9 languages and also manuals for all of the 9 languages. Now, I don't know if you realise this, but at installation time you get the option to choose which language you want RightBooth to run in. But after you've chosen that, you can subsequently change the language whenever you wish. So I'm going to show you how to switch into Polish in this example. So we come out of here, we go into settings, text and language, and down at the bottom here you've got the application language setting. Currently that's set to English for me. And as you can see, we've got the 9 options here: Spanish, French, German, Italian, Romanian, Portuguese, Dutch and Polish. I'm going to choose Polish. RightBooth has switched the language in here, but you need to restart the app to get the full effect. So let's click OK. It's telling me that I need to restart here. So I'm just going to exit, not save that, and restart. And as you can see, everything is now in Polish. Let's have a look at the help file. And the manual. And obviously the interface is all in Polish as well. Let's switch back to English. The final new feature in this release that I want to mention is the support for more Canon camera models, and this comes with the latest Canon SDK that I have added into this version. Now, I haven't personally checked any of these cameras because I don't own them, so if any of you have these models, I'd be very interested to hear your feedback on how that works. Now, just to say, there are some other minor additions and bug fixes in this version. They are all explained in the release notes. The last thing I'd like to mention is about AI photo effects. Now, it's a very fast-moving industry at the moment. There's a lot going on, lots of new services arriving, lots of ways of doing new AI effects. And I just want to let you know that this is going to carry on being developed. For instance, face swapping, that's something I want to add in a future version. If any of you have got any suggestions or links to websites that I might find useful for integrating into RightBooth when it comes to AI, please let me know. Just put something on the forum or send me an email to support@rightbooth.com. Okay, I hope you find it useful and thanks for watching.